By the time this video ends, 15 Americans will have been sexually assaulted. I'm gonna need y'all to let that sink in. And what's even wilder, less than half of those cases will even get reported. But I'm gonna need y'all to hold on, because of those that get reported, only 10% will lead to an arrest. But what happens when the accused is married to a high-profile celebrity and the entire world is watching? Now, Nicki Minaj has long been a powerful voice in the entertainment world, unapologetically promoting female autonomy, body positivity, and financial independence. However, her contentious interactions with other female hip-hop artists and her choice to marry Kenneth Petty, who has serious sexual offense in his past, complicate this feminist image. So grab your tea, sit back, and let's get into it.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
What's up, Sipper Society? It's your girl, Lady T, back at it again with another episode of We Need to Talk. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's been making waves in the media and sparking intense discussions online. We're talking about Nicki Minaj's decision to marry Kenneth Petty, a man with a criminal past that includes a conviction for attempted rape. How does this choice connect to the larger conversation about rape culture, especially in the entertainment industry? So let's unpack this all together, okay? So let me set the scene. Kenneth Petty, Nicki Minaj's husband, has been back in the spotlight, and not for good reason. Footage from a 1994 interrogation recently resurfaced via Conscious TV's platform, showing Petty being questioned about his sexual assault case involving Jennifer Hugh. In response to Conscious TV's expose, Kenneth Petty had this to say.
Don't you let anybody or anything steal your motherfucking joy.
That's right, especially the fakers and fuck boys.
Okay.
Now,
Did he just say especially not the
fags
fuck
and the fuck boys?
Oh, I didn't hear the fags. Oh,
Yeah.
he said fags
He
and
said
fuck
the
boys.
fags and the fuck boys. That's what he said. And that was just after Conscious.
And wait a minute, but the funny thing is, isn't Nicki Minaj one of those artists that's really in regards the gay community?
The gay
is
community
huge
rides
following
for her. That's
okay,
that's
so
one of her biggest supporters.
So isn't it a negative comment to call any gay person a fag or fuckboy? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
Okay.
But see, this marriage of hers is stirring up a lot of controversy with the silver spoon child. Nicki is spilling over, especially over her husband's recent use of the gay slur, which is not sitting right with LGBTQIA fan base.
You think?
At all. And with Petty's past conviction for attempted rape, the brew is just getting messier and messier, leaving us to wonder how these choices reflect the bigger societal issue steeping beneath the surface. So, despite Petty's guilty plea to attempted rape back in 1995, the footage contradicts some of his claims that he made when he was suing people and talking about, well, whatever. Although Petty knew the victim, Hugh, since childhood, he struggled to recall her last name. And Nicki tried to play the sympathy card, spin it, sympathy and payola. Ain't that what she said? Sympathy and payola, that was her words. Spinning this narrative that the victim, who she swore up and down was white, had recanted her statement to avoid jail time. Nicki tried to play it as if Petty was some kind of modern day Emmett Till, but the cracks in the story are starting to show.
I think we're about to dive into. So you have some video for us to watch?
Yes, we have some video of for us to watch in regards to the interrogation. So I just want you to take a look and watch closely and notice Petty's body language, his tone, and his responses, or lack thereof, to key questions.
Today on September 16th, 1994. What do you wish to say about that?
It didn't occur there.
What?
I saw the girl on the boulevard of Rockaway Boulevard. I was walking down the block. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning for school, and I went to wake my uncle up for work. So as I was coming back, I bumped into this girl named Jennifer, and her friend was walking. It was a male friend, and I know him. He's my friend. So we talking, you know, and she was just sitting there. So after that, I just left, and I went back to my house. So I went to sleep, and my uncle had left and went out to work without locking the door. So the next thing I know, police was up in my face, talking about I had raped somebody, and I did not rape nobody.
Okay, you saw Jennifer today?
Yes.
And who was she with?
She was with this boy named I think his name was, what's this boy name? I know him too.
Well, let's start with how you know him. How do you know him?
Oh, we used to play basketball in the park.
And do you know where he lives?
Okay. Just a regular it was like a tournament in 150th Park. And he used to be on the opposite side of the team, and we used to, you know what I'm saying, just play.
Okay, and both times was she with this person? And what did you say or do?
I said something to her, and she got smart, like, what? And I was like, nothing, just leave it as that. And I just kept on walking. Because, like, no longer than, like, a year ago, this happened, again, like this.
What happened?
I had, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, I had sex with her, put it like that. And something went down, like last year. And she was like, she just don't want to mess with me no more. And I must have said something wrong, got my face today, that must have made her upset enough for her to call rape on me. Because I did not touch that girl, man.
Well, you had sex with her before, you said.
Yes.
When was that?
Last year. It's almost like every day as she was going to school. Because I was supposed to be going to get enrolled too.
Where?
At John Adams.
Okay, but you're not enrolled yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, and how was it today? How was it when you saw her? What kind of conversation or whatever did you have?
It wasn't no real conversation because I was talking to my what's name, Donovan, I think, Donnie. We was talking about the basketball, how we was gonna try to go. I was gonna get up in the school and try to play for them. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I said I hope you not going nowhere where I think you're not going, cause she was with him, and I was like, all right. So I just left, and I went to my house like. It was like no longer than a half an hour later, probably so, because I was asleep. And I was looking at the time, and I went to sleep and woke up. It was a light in my face, and I'm like, hey, let me get my shirt. You know?
And that was when the police were there?
Mm-hmm.
You'd say it was a half hour after you saw her?
It had to be. Like a half hour.
Do you remember what she was wearing?
She had to have on some green pants, a white shirt, and what kind of sneakers? She had on some Filas.
Lady T. It's clear something doesn't add up here. What are your thoughts? I mean, he was gibberish, he was jittering, he kept changing the dates of the sexual encounters, like...
Right, it was something off.
What they say, make the math make math.
The math ain't math.
The math ain't math.
And to me, it seems like he was trying to kind of create a narrative or create the illusion or allude to, that's the word I'm trying to use. He wanted to allude to the fact that this act could have been done by someone else by bringing up that guy she was with the morning of when she was on her way to school.
Right.
And he couldn't remember the guy's name. I don't think he wanted to say a name that he actually knew that they can maybe go find.
But I feel like that's what actually made him look suspicious.
Right.
Because he was like, he couldn't stick to one thing. Like his story wasn't consistent. You know how when somebody, even a good liar has a story and sticks to it and doesn't waver and change. He was a little too nervous for me, a little too like, like kind of like, what you mean? And then like how you know how people when they answer a question, they answer a question with a question. You know what I'm saying? Instead of
Yes.
answering with an answer, I felt like he just kept giving different answers that wasn't adding up. Like his timeline kept
The
shifting.
timeline was shifting, but what was getting me was I feel as if because he knew what happened, because he knew what went down, he was trying to state certain things so that way, it like as if to throw them off the scent. You know what I mean? So you're mentioning this guy and how,
Right,
you know,
right.
and I don't remember his name, but we
Right.
were just talking about basketball and yeah, you know, because I was going to be going to school too. I'm supposed to be in school too. You know, I'm a good kid. I'm in school. However, my question is, why didn't your family? Why aren't you in school? You know, and a part of the video that you don't see, he says he's 14. Why would you lie and say that you're 14 when you're 16 years old? What are you trying to get out of, right? So, it's high-profile cases like this one that can significantly influence public perception, often leading to the victim blaming and protecting the accused. Now, when you add celebrity into the mix, it creates a perfect storm for confusion and misinformation.
So you have another video.
Yeah,
from
let's
that
shift the
same
focus
Okay.
and let's get into some of the details
Of that
this
integration.
encounter.
Okay,
Yeah, and this
cool.
integration, all right?
How long have you lived there?
All my life.
And which one is your bedroom in that house?
Right upstairs. Right as soon as you walk upstairs, right there. My aunt sleeps right there, and I sleep right there.
Okay, was your aunt home today?
No, she had just left.
Was anybody else home when the police came?
No, my uncle had. That's how the door was open. The door supposed to have been locked, but my uncle went to work and he don't have no keys. So when he come out to lock it, so he just left the door open. You can even ask him. Nobody was in that house.
Okay, and he left the door open
Nobody.
when he left?
Yeah.
Okay, and now, did you have sex with Jennifer today? You have to answer out loud.
No.
When was the last time you had sex with her?
Last year,
Okay.
93.
Did you have sex with anyone today
No.
in that room? Now, you recall before, when your mother was still here, she gave you a form, a consent form to go into the house and to look for certain property.
Yes.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. And do you remember reading this and signing your name at the bottom?
Yes.
And is this your signature over here?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall your mother reading it and signing her name over here?
Yes. Yes. There's little things and dishes in there.
Okay. And what's the knife in there for?
The downstairs is messed up.
What do you mean?
The kitchen is messed up. It's like we got all the cups and stuff is in our room basically.
Okay. And there was a knife in there?
Yes.
And it was on the dresser?
Nah. It was in a little bucket. It should be a little bucket on my dresser with a whole bunch of pots and a whole bunch of stuff.
Is this the knife that was in your room?
Yes.
Okay. And on your dresser?
Yes.
Okay.
It shouldn't have been on my dresser though.
Why would she say something like this?
No idea, man.
You have no idea?
None whatsoever.
And I just want to show you some photographs that were taken over at your house. There were 12 of them. And this one shows the bottle of eye lotion on the dresser. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Is that from your room?
Yes.
Okay. And this one shows one side view of your room.
Yes.
Look, and this part is your bed right here?
Yes.
Okay, and that blanket was on the bed?
Yes.
Okay. That's your room?
Yes.
And this shows a pot with some dishes and a knife
Yes.
on your dresser?
Yes.
And that's from your room?
Yes.
Okay, and this one showing the blankets on your bed
Yes.
or your aunt's bed? Which one is that?
Let me see. Hold
Well,
up.
They're close together, right? They're two
Yeah.
single beds pushed together?
No, this is my bed right here, I think, 'cause that's my clothes over there.
All right. And do you have a handgun?
No.
No? All right. Do you recognize that item that was beneath the mattress of your bed?
I think it's something that my uncle used, like a tool, something he put in there.
This here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not a handgun case?
No.
And where does your uncle live in that house?
My uncle doesn't live in that house.
All right, but well, Was he there this morning and then left the door open? That's a different uncle?
My uncle's down south.
Okay. So who was it you were saying left today?
Oh, my other uncle that worked, that lived downstairs now.
How many people live in that house?
4.
When you saw Jennifer today, did you notice any bruises on her?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So, Lady T, I swear I'm not laughing.
Right.
What are your
Understand.
thoughts?
So now the thing that threw me, number one, when you went to go, when you were, when this all came back up in the public eye, or when we first found out about it, you sued the city saying that, you know, you were falsely accused or something like that, or you didn't have a consent form, that they didn't have a consent form to go check out your house or whatever. You know what I mean?
So
but there was a consent form. You just said it right there.
So do you think that that was his way of getting out of it? Because he realized that even in that testimony or that interrogation, he was changing his story, especially when he was talking about his uncle. And then there's nobody that, like, there's only 2 people in the house that lives in the house, but then there's 3 people that live in the house because his uncle lives in the basement. Because it was all about, you don't own a gun, but there's a gun case underneath your mattress. So why would there be a gun case underneath your mattress? Oh, that doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my uncle. But who's the uncle that it belongs to? But there's only 2 people in the house. Oh, it's the uncle who's downstairs. But it was just the uncle who lives down south. Like, what are you doing?
It's the uncle that lives down south.
Right.
The uncle, another uncle left the door open. You're living, you're in a room, living, I'm sleeping in a room with your aunt.
Right.
In twin-size beds pushed together like I Love Lucy or something like
And
that,
why
with
were
pots
all
and
those-
pans
why
and
were all those things in their bedroom?
utensils
Like-
on the dresser. Before she even mentioned the knife, before she even pulled it out, you see his hand goes like this.
Right.
And then he thinks about it. He goes.
You mentioned that about
Yeah, and then
body. Would you say
know,
that was psychology
it's like
101?
Psychology 101. The body language.
Tells
He
it
was
all,
telling
body
on
language.
himself. You know, he was telling on himself. He had his hands out like this. Then he went like this. It's supposed to be in a little bucket. He realized what he was saying. Then she pulled out a knife about the same length that his hands went. And then he said something. When he was shaking his head, no.
But again,
He
this
said,
is his.
"Mm-mm."
But
And he's
again,
like,
this is his past. So let's just say, you know, it happened. And this happened when he was 16, 17. So why should he or why should Nicki now not have him or not embrace him? How do we know what work he's done from that point on until now? Because he didn't necessarily get caught. He got this image and this blur, but what inner work that he might have done? We don't
If he was
know.
doing all that much inner work, I think he wouldn't have an issue registering.
Okay, but
You would just register as a sex offender.
okay.
You would be speaking out again. You're with one of the richest women in the world. Couldn't you be creating foundations for women who have suffered from sexual violence?
But is that fair to always ask? Is that fair to ask artists to put their money where they necessarily don't want to prove to the world or to prove that they're a good person or to prove that they're a better person? Who should they be accountable to?
Listen, if she wants to marry somebody who is a convicted felon who raped people at knife point at whatever age he did, if he wants to rape
What's
people
the legal word we should say?
Right, and then now you can't have, and now you can't, sexual assault. If you want to marry somebody who attempted to sexually assault someone, he was convicted.
Oh, he was convicted.
He was convicted.
Okay.
Who wanted to sexually assault people at knife point.
Oh, man,
and you can't
Lady
have a
T.
play date now
Oh man, Lady T.
because little Papa Bear can't have a play date because his father is.
Oh, Lady T. So when people see a famous face,
When people see a famous face, the lines between right and wrong often get blurred. And it's crucial to hold everyone accountable regardless of their status. Petty's past, including his 1995 conviction and failure to register as a sex offender, continues to cast a shadow over him. And also lying about, this resurfacing footage only intensifies the controversy. And let's not forget, Nicki Minaj has defended her marriage, citing loyalty as a key reason. And this defense mirrors common justifications in abusive relationships where loyalty and love are used to excuse problematic behavior. Now, let's pivot to a broader topic that this case brings to light: rape culture in music and media. So let's be real. Our favorite songs, movies, and TV shows have often glorified, normalized, and trivialized sexual violence. And it's time we start calling it out. So, let's take, for instance, Belle Biv DeVoe's Doobie Baby, which contains the lyrics, "Backstage, underage, adolescent, how you doing? Fine," she replied. I sighed. I like to do the wild thing. Action took place. Kinda wet. Don't forget. The J, the I, the M, the Y. Y'all, I need a body bag, okay? Perpetuating problematic views about women and consent.
And what kills me, like, okay, because I am a Belle Biv DeVoe fan, but I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't sit right with me when that song is played at like children's events, you know what I'm saying, or family reunions. Like, I feel like, okay, you know, because again, it's a blurred line with the consent, because they say they talk about putting on condoms, but then I think with also like the whole, like, even when they talk about not just Do Me Baby, what's the song that Big Butt and a Smile? Like
Poison.
Poison. Like, are you saying that every woman who has a big butt, like, you know, is poison?
Are you saying that, this is my thing, of course you're going to use the body bag. You don't want to, you're making sure there's no evidence left.
Okay, go to the next person.
I'm just saying, we
Okay.
just making these allowances.
Who else
like
did you
for
bring?
Ice Cube. Okay. Giving up the nuggy dugout. Also touches on themes that reflect on the normalization of certain behaviors in the context of sexual dynamics. I know she's a minor. These are the lyrics. And it's legal, but the bitch is worse than Vanessa Del Rio. And if you decide to call rape, we got the little hooker on tape, like some other people we know. Tell the fucking slut, please hurry up and wear that dress that's tight on her butt so I can finger fuck on the way to the bed.
No, not Ice Cube.
Or we got DMX, who asserts X is coming. And if you got a daughter older than 15, I'm a raper. Take her on the living room floor right here in front of you. Then ask you seriously what you going to do or what you want to do. Yet another example where aggressive masculinity highlighted and contributing to broader culture that often trivialize consent. And let's not forget UOENO. You ain't know it. Put Molly all up in her champagne. She ain't know it. I took her home and enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. The song faced backlash for its explicit content regarding consent and sexual violence.
So let me ask you something, because I know, coming from my little history in the music industry or just in the entertainment industry, a lot of times when artists, they face the problems of they have certain music that they want to put out, but the record label will insist that they put out some other kind of music. So the positive music sometimes will get shelved, and just so that artists could get put on, they'll put the music that the record label is pushing. When does the artist say, no, I'm not doing that? Because, or are they right? Because at the end of the day, how do you take the artist out of the art? You know what I'm saying? Or out of the messaging. Like, I'm a fan of DMX. So
I'm a fan of
am
all
I?
of them.
Well, yes and no. Like, I was never really a fan of Ice Cube, so I didn't know his music. But to hear the music, I remember so many times there would be R&B songs that I would listen to and not hear or not really say the lyrics. And then when it was brought to my attention, then the song would shift. So how do we hold artists accountable? Should they be accountable? Are we accountable for what we now listen to, what we buy?
Yeah.
Because we're also buying the music. So are the record labels right in pushing these types of songs? If we're buying them?
We do, listen, the fact of the matter is absolutely the music industry, the record execs record execs are promoting certain music over other forms of entertainment. However, there's plenty of songs that are appropriate. I mean, put it like this. It may not be something I would do, but it's not the same as like talking about raping children.
Right. Did you show the Rick Ross pic? Did you do the Rick Ross one?
Yeah, the Rick
Ross. He was like saying, what he said, put Molly?
Put Molly all up in her drink or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mess with the Cosby Show no more because of that stuff.
Right.
He has that in a song, put Molly in her champagne. She don't even know.
I still mess with the Cosby Show. I'm sorry. That's a brilliant show. However, you know, you do wonder why he was a gynecologist or OBGYN. You know, there was a lot of weird stuff, you know, that happened. But I don't want to get into Cosby at all.
So let's wrap up.
My thought process is this, right? These are things that have been placed in us. Hold on, placed in us since we were little. From the time we were watching Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, and they were going up to those young women and kissing them without consent. Or whether we're talking about Napoleon Dynamite or The Breakfast Club. It's just within the fabric of media. And these lyrics contribute to the culture where sexual violence is normalized, which impacts how we view personal choices like Nicki's. It also forces us to ask some tough questions. Like you said, can we separate the artist from the art from the artist? How do we hold people accountable while still recognizing the societal pressures that women, especially black women, and even some of these artists face? Nicki Minaj's decision to marry Kenneth Petty is complicated. On one hand, she's a champion for women's empowerment and independence. On the other, she's standing by her man with a troubling past.
So here we have another show where we can talk about this for hours on
Yes.
end. So I wanted to ask the crowd to put in the comments, how does Nicki's situation impact the conversation about rap culture, about the rape culture, and personal accountability, and what message does it send out to her fans? I think that's something that we should put out to the audience to put in their comments.
Absolutely. So I definitely want you guys to do that. And also remember, this is a reminder that personal choices are often influenced by larger societal issues. Nicki's case challenges us to think critically about how we support survivors and hold individuals accountable. So, that's all that we have today, and we've covered a lot. From the interrogation of Kenneth Petty to the insidious ways rape culture creeps into our music and media. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, is that we have to be more critical, more aware, and more vocal. We can't just sit back and let these things slide. It's time to demand accountability and push for real change. So now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's topic. And let's keep this conversation going, okay? And before you go, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, because here on the Tea Lounge, we don't give a sip. Peace.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.